following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.
This isn't just a game. This is iRacing. So after a couple of weeks of wild super speedway racing from Michigan, Daytona, Atlanta, it is time for another wild card. It just seems to be lining up race by race by race by race tonight. It is a left and a right turn, or more specifically tonight, 7 rights and 4 lefts. As we hit the Watkins Glen Raceway, right off Lake Seneca, Watkins Glen, New York, virtual on iRacing, as we get ready for race number 24 of this Sim500 NCA11.org Xfinity season, or I should say Cup season, here on the Captain eSports Network, as we welcome you on this Monday evening. Captain with you as always, and Kevin England as always. Joining me by my side is Kevin. We come to this very interesting track, 2.45 miles with 7 corners. One that you've partaked in this weekend and did some racing on yourself, but this track might look like it's fast and forgiving, but this track is not as easy as some people might make it look.
Yeah, this place is a handful, and there's no doubt that drivers either thrive or suffer fates, undeserving fates at this racetrack. As it takes a certain knack to turn left and right, and specifically in this racetrack, you have 2 objectives: 1, haul the mail, or 2, try and stay on the racetrack. And you're somewhere in between those 2 things. And, it's one of those things where certain drivers excel. And when you watch them run this speedway, it's just amazing to see how they navigate it. And one thing I know, Chris, in order to get the speeds that they have, you have to hustle the car.
Yeah.
You have to throw it in the corners. You have to brake absolutely perfect. You have to catch the throttle well. You have to run off the racetrack and across the rumble strips. So every lap is a new adventure in just trying to get every 10th you can all the way around the racetrack. It all adds up.
Well, it's interesting because, this track, with the rumble strips was kind of set up for the old version of the Cup car. This new version, with the way the splitter, the diffuser on the back, and the undercarriage of the car is set up, it's not really made to bottom out anymore on the rumble strips and use those as much. Hence why you kind of saw a little bit of a change in the setup of the racetrack in real life this weekend. Not to mention a lot of drivers were complaining about headaches and different things because of just how rough the track was when it comes to the rumble strips last year when they ran this next-gen car. But tonight you get the old school version. We're not too worried about it. As we get ready to go here, it is the classic NASCAR layout, if you will. But we got to go all the way back to 1948 when the first time Watkins Glen was raced. But this wasn't the old circuit here. This was the public roads, 6.6 mile course on the local public roads. And they were running through the heart of downtown, spectators lining the sidewalks and all. And, well, unfortunately, in 1952, there was a very bad accident that happened. And, well, they made them move to the main layout circuit that you see right here on the screen in 1953. So, kind of a good thing that happened, because you know how dangerous these cars would be if they were out there running the streets of Watkins Glen at the moment. That'd be kind of bad. But interesting to read the stats about that. In 1971, of course, major overhaul as the Big Bend in the turns leading up Two were actually eliminated and brought in a new pit straight. So basically, and I'll explain this later in the race, Kev, over in turn one, there's an actual stand. It says Salins on it. That is the old start finish line over there, where between turn one and the S's. But this, of course, where we're looking at right now is the current start finish line back into the course. But this course has got a long history. It's hosted the U.S. Grand Prix for Formula One. It's hosted IndyCar racing. It's hosted, of course, the 6 Hours at the Glen for numerous years now. Truck racing, as I mentioned, Cup racing, Xfinity racing, and so much more. This track has got so much history, and needless to say, it's one that I think out of all the tracks, everyone knows.
Yeah, there's something also about this racetrack and the speed that you carry it.
Yeah.
Even a novice person at road courses can do pretty well here. Really, it's just about finding the braking points, the turn-in points, not bouncing off the curbs, and again, staying on the racetrack, which in practice here we're seeing drivers having a little challenge as they try to find the edge. But 1957, they opened this course, and of course, after the incident with J.D. McDuffie, they added the infamous
Bus
inner
stop,
loop to slow the cars down. And from the standpoint of this racetrack, to me, there's two places that you make speed. It's at the inner loop, and it's turn number 9, the carousel. As you come around that corner, that really dictates a lot of speed going down into the tight left-hander that's turn 10. And certainly everybody charges turn number 1, and if you get one right, you carry all the speed through the S's to the backstretch. I guess what I just said is it's all important.
Oh, of course, every part of this track is important, as you mentioned. Now, I want to go back, and for those wondering on the stream, like, what was Big Bend? Because they heard that out of my mouth. Well, on the old circuit from 1956 to 1970, and I want you to visualize this portion right here of the track, where turn 6 is. Okay, so you went through the carousel, you went down a straightaway, and if you think of Road America for a split second, the King that goes to the right, they had one that went to the left. And then went down a straightaway to where like the start finish line would be. Then they would have like a 90-degree corner and then another sharp left and then another 90 that went up to where the S's are basically, and that's where the start finish line was. But then they made it the way it is now in the configuration. So you can see the photos on Wikipedia. It's a pretty cool deal there. So hey, let's check out the point standings as we enter the race here this evening. Again, race number 24, which means you do the math. There's only 2 races left after tonight for the playoffs. Now, Kevin King's missed the last couple of races. His points lead has fallen to 136. He's got a pretty big lead. Chad Coleman finally broke the winless streak for him last week. He is third in points. Tyler Dalton and Jose Gonzalez to go down to where the bubble is. Randy Yoakum leads by 1 right now over Robert Friery. And then you see Brian Wortman right there is within 7 points of the position. Then it's 21 and then 38. Mark Jorgensen, who's, by the way, has been very fast here in practice. So I think the points battle down there at the bottom is not necessarily over yet.
Yeah, and this is an interesting wrinkle for some of these drivers coming in when they're trying to consider points. Again, your prowess at this racetrack can mix, and it's one of those things where, when you see drivers race in the off season, they'll run Iowa, they'll run the old Fontana, they'll run a bunch of, but nobody ever fires up a road course. So typically what you see is these drivers, one and done. They run this race once a year when it comes to this time of year, and they get out and run. Now, other drivers love this racetrack. They just go out and practice on it just for the sake of doing so. So I think we're going to see the field stretch out. And you and I were having a discussion about no cautions tonight. So from that standpoint, drivers need to, 1, get through and have a clean start, not get any damage, find their space on the racetrack by themselves. And then it truly is the definition of the racetrack.
Yeah.
Because if you get off the racetrack, the time you lose to everybody else who's going to do pretty well here. I think a lot of drivers are pretty comfortable with this racetrack. To your point, it's been around for so long that they know all the corners, they know the braking points, they know the acceleration. It's just a matter of, you usually get in trouble, Chris, when you're trying to find just a little bit more speed.
Yeah, just run your pace. And when you're in a race like this, you're not the most experienced road guy. The safest way to do things is we watch Stoney Benfield here, the faster passer across the start-finish line, down the hill to turn 1 here. The safest way to get yourself a good finish, keep it between the white lines. some yellow lines, and in this case, you want to keep it between the Armco. If you go into it, it's not going to be good for the car. As they work their way up the S as Stoney does here, you're going to see the cars flipping around to different people here. As I got it set up on just random drivers here, but up through the S's, down the back straightaway here, and this is where that bus stop or inner loop is. You see Mark Jorgensen already in the purple right now, going down the straightaway here into the bus stop portion of the track. But yeah, this track's very inviting. I mean, most road courses in the world are technical, which is where you just kind of put yourself into a rhythm and you drive it. This one, you got so many straightaways that you almost have to remind yourself, okay, I'm on this straightaway here, I got to make this turn here. I'm on this straightaway, got to make this turn here. But the other thing you got to remember too is there are 7 right-handers. There are only 4 lefts. The only left-handed corners on this track is the left-hander in the S's, the 2 left-handers in the bus stop, in turn 6. That's all the left-handers. Otherwise, you're turning right the whole time.
I think one of the things drivers are constantly thinking about is braking points. How much speed they're carrying, did it get off the corner well? And as they scream down the straightaway like we're looking at, you see those signs on the right side. They typically, depending on how fast they got off the corner, find their braking point, knowing how much speed they're covering, and brake. Now, some drivers like to brake early and then drive out of the corner. Others try to charge the corner, brake really late, get stopped as much as possible and drive out of the corner by stomping on the gas. And I think nobody does it better here. If I'm going to make a forecast, I've seen Kevin King run these racetracks, and there's just something about his ability to watch the telemetry and know how much braking pressure to put in. He's a czar at it, and from the get-go, I found my moving buddy. I think I'm picking Kevin King tonight.
Well, that's low-hanging fruit there, as I must say. But no, hey, anything can happen in the race, and I think he's easily going to be the favorite. But this guy who just jumped to the top, Mark Jorgensen, was fastest in practice. Just ran a 1:11.78 to put it on the pole right now. Fuller a 91. So we'll see what Kevin can do here. But I was being told during the NIS races this weekend that King was running laps that would be pole laps in this race right now, like the first 15 laps of the run. So that's kind of scary when you look at if you're able to preserve your tires. And speaking of the man, here he is on track right now. And let's see what kind of lap he can lay down. As Jorgensen, you see, ran to 78 through turn 1 pretty smoothly. As let's go on board with him and take a ride and see what we can notice anything. But watch how he attacks here. 4th gear, got to be very careful there because the car wants to come around. But now you're on a straightaway up to 5th. Watch how he attacks this inner loop right here. And I was telling you about this off the air. You have to jump this curve right here. Zing, right over it. And then bam, onto the brakes. And look how tight that is. I mean,
he's using all the curving. And I wonder if he's going to drop the right front down here onto the grass as he does the exit. Some drivers like to get really low right about there.
Yep, let it drift out because there's no more track limits like that anymore. And you see he's in the purple. Up to 4th gear, might hit 5th gear for a split second. Does not, down to 3rd. Turn 6 right here. Stays probably 3rd gear all the way here. Yep, down to 2nd, maybe 1st. Nope, he's going to stay 2nd. Let's see what he does. He's purple all the way through right now. As long as you don't clip the grass there out of 7. He got it. 1:11.38.
So we saw drivers in NIS, which is the typical community practice racing on iRacing, run 1:13s. The difference is that these drivers can use more of the racetrack. Coming out of the carousel, they can swing way out and use more of the racetrack. It costs them a little more time, but they carry more speed. And that's the difference between a 1:13, which is a good lap there, and a 1:11, 1:11 that we see King, Jorgensen, and some of the others running here.
Well, Kevin's going actually faster right now on his 2nd lap. But yeah, you saw Dalton cross the line. He is 7th right now, but Kevin's in the purple again. Let's see if he can
no
do
surprise.
Well, yeah, if he can just see if he does it too here. At least in the yellow there, sector 2. And that RevGrips.com Chevy Camaro brings her off of turn 7. Let's see as he crosses the line.
Yep, 2/10 faster.
Wow. That's how you do it.
1:11:213 is the time set there for Kevin King. Is Jorgensen a 1:11:780, which is not a slow time.
No, not at all.
Let me tell you, by no stretch, but Jorgensen's still out on the racetrack running a couple laps here.
We got a pretty good field of cars here tonight, it looks like. I'm seeing 3, 5, about 30 cars that are going to try to make this race. I see Jose Gonzalez has checked in over in chat. I believe that's La Murala. Appreciate everyone hanging out here. Pre-race is going to be a little extended because obviously Watkins Glen, you want to give them the 2 laps to qualify, so the extended 5 minutes of qualifying and then the 5 minutes for warm-up because of the issues with the servers and people being kicked out basically. So they're giving everybody plenty of time to get set up for this race. That'll be 45 laps, so about 110 miles when it's over with around this 2.45 mile track.
Campbell was conservative through the bus stop.
Slightly.
And conservative around the carousel, meaning he wasn't hugging the corner. And sometimes that's the way drivers run it. They just stay out a little bit and then turn down to run off onto the straightaway.
Charles Van Schuyck.
Yeah.
1:15.0. Chad Coleman with a Kevin England lap of a 1:16.1.
That'd be me. That's a pretty good one. I just try and keep it on the racetrack.
Probably were
That's
faster than
really
me.
what my goal is every time we go to Watkins Glen.
I can credit myself. I did finish third in an IndyCar. Was it the C, the ones that run the ovals only? They ran Watkins Glen one week, and I finished third in one of those races because you had the tire swap and stuff, and I went long on the primes and swapped over to the red tires and worked my way up to third. So that's my one proud moment, I guess, at Watkins Glen. And that's only because it's an open wheel car. A stock car, forget it. Maybe top 10 in a not so good series.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I love the racetrack.
It's fun, yeah.
I wish I could be a little more aggressive, but I'm so scared to death of having an off-track experience that.
Let's.
I love the fact that Sim500 came back here, and we're going to see some great racing tonight. We're going to see some. It's almost like a ballet in the context, Chris, of how aggressive these drivers are. They're on kill every lap,
right?
And yet they're flawless because you have to be. You can't slip a tire off. You'll end up in the grass and against the famous blue barriers. So easy to just get a little behind in through the S's, for example, right here where the car comes through and starts to go sideways. You slide out here and you catch the barrier. That's easy to do. So
here's the thing that we need to know tonight is you want to keep the car between the walls. Do not hit any of those. And just be careful and go out there and run your own line. But Kevin King, we do know, has won the pole here tonight. Presented by 811. Know it's below and call before you dig. I was looking to see if we can get a word with our second place starter here tonight, Mark Jorgensen, but I can't seem to find him here in chat. So let's have a little fun here for a second. Let's check with Chad Coleman, last week's winner, and bring him up here as the warm-up session has officially started. Chad, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, give you some good advice in getting around here?
not me.
Gave me pointers. He gave me some suggestions, but I mean, you can suggest a lot, but when you just like are all left turns, it ain't helping me now.
So what, keeping it between the lines, I guess, is key, but it's nice to not have a losing streak anymore, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we're so happy that we won last week. So this week, like I told Wesley, I was like, man, if I finish 15th, I'll be happy. But I'll probably crash, so like I did in qualifying.
So I heard you did something Friday night that was interesting.
Oh yeah, I heard everybody. One.
How many people are mad at you now?
Nobody. It was actually kind of funny.
I want to go back and find this replay. Oh man, Chad's pulling at me out there, wrecking people for wins. Oh man. Well, hey, best of luck here tonight. Figure we'd pull you up track. How's it feeling out there? I mean, it's slick, obviously. I assume, especially in the S's. Uh-oh.
First lap and a half, it's not that bad. It's loose for that. But after that, it's pretty good.
Nice. Well, best of luck. Keep it on track. And just remember 7 rights and 4 lefts. And you'll be all right.
God, how many pit stops you thinking tonight?
Honestly, whenever you got to pit for fuel, that's pretty much gonna be it. Like the tires, there's really not much fall off.
You're not going to pull a Falkingham and just go fuel only, are you?
I mean, you probably could. Like, there's no fall off. I think whatever you see Kevin King run, if he runs an 11.5, that's what he chooses to do with his times, which you see he's about 3/10 faster than that. If he chooses to run a mid 11 or a high 11, that's what he's going to run until he has to pit. And probably not very far off of that, maybe a 10th or 2. But I pretty much look for these guys like Kevin and Mark, maybe Fuller, to run in the 11s, if not like the really low 12s, the whole run.
Wow. That'll be crazy to see. Well, hey, appreciate your time, man. Go get some laps in there and go get a top 10.
Yeah, if everybody crashes, that'll be great.
Hey, you got a top 15 start pretty much, so you can go forward.
Yeah, I mean, I was 2 seconds slower than everybody after I about wrecked, and then I did wreck. So
Okay. Short shift up through the S's. That'll help you. I'm just giving you advice. But good luck.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. That is Chad Coleman, and that sounds stupid to say that, Kevin, but when you're in a wheel spin on a road course like this, and you have wheel spin, what's the easiest way to break wheel spin? Short shift. So when you're going up through the S's, if you want to keep yourself from getting loose through the track, because the S's are very easy to back in once you get around because it's light and you're uphill, short shift it, and the car will more likely stay under you. Just don't full throttle through the S's there until you get up to the top of the hill and down the straightaway there, and you'll keep the car kind of straight there for the most part. But hey, big shout out to 811. Of course, know what's below and call before you dig. Let's see what we got. About a minute before the race begins, so let's go trackside for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, here we go. Cars are on the grid. And you know you wouldn't be at a road course if it wasn't for the Porsche pace car at the front. So we get ready to go racing here for 45 laps on this 2.45 mile road course. First time we've run a road course since August of 2022. I remember that race in its entirety. You know why? It was the first Cup race on the Captain eSports net. Boom. Daniel Falkingham pretty much ran away with that one that day. The track record nowhere near being touched, but the one thing for sure, Kevin King, he has got himself the pole here this evening as we take a look at the starting lineup. Mark Jorgensen once again starts second to him as the Texas driver looking pretty good on the road course here. Justin Fuller starting on the inside of row number 2 alongside Matt Rodolasso. Wesley Donaldson, David Comstock, they'll take row 3. Tyler Dalton, Robert Fryer to 3rd in row 4. Jason Karlovage and Mike Kelly in row number 5. Row 6, Anthony Calantoni and Justin Mons. Row number 7 is Kevin Brown and Nelson Rivera, Joey Jatina and Eric Arnold. Row 8, row 9, Bobby Wetzel, Charles Van Schaik. Stoney Benfield and Chad Coleman there in row 10. Patrick Colby, Josh Parker in row number 11. Row 12, Jose Medina and Joseph Grijalva. Glenn Campbell and Randy Oakham there in row 13. Row 14, Ron Holyfield, Doug Sigmund, Brian Wortman will make up the 29th and final starter. Everybody on the grid, which is definitely good news. There's your track layout tonight. Of course, 78 degrees, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and this 2.45 mile track. Now, cautions, this is where it gets tricky. Believe it or not, I have actually broadcasted races here that have had cautions in them. And I'm not talking about like thrown by the admin. Now, the only thing about it is they were on the boot and they were coming out of the boot turn 9, which would be where the short chute is here, going down to turn 6 on the Cup course, where they would exit the corner there, block the track, and iRacing would throw the yellow, believe it or not. So chances are tonight about 99.9% that we will not have a caution, but 45 laps, and this will be the one time I mention what the fuel strategy will be. Just know that most of these cars will go somewhere around halfway, pit for fuel, and go to the finish. What's halfway? 22 laps, 23 laps, somewhere in that range. But it will be a one-stopper throughout the race. So here they come down the short chute. This is where I talked about the boot portion there. They go off the track over there to the left, and they come back right here. There's usually a track blocker in a race around this area right here, and usually that's where you get that caution thrown. But we'll see what happens. But one thing's for sure, Kevin, we're going to do some road racing here tonight, and we're going to let you lead them to the green flag, sir.
Field rolls around, getting ready for the start here as they run down this short straightaway to turn number 11. They'll come to the front stretch where Marcus Ambrose won that amazing race in 2012. I was sitting right there on that corner watching that live as they come out green, green, green. The inside lane gets the jump. Kevin King gets a good run with Fuller right behind him. Fuller's going to take a look to the inside, jump to the outside. They're going to be side by side in turn number 1.
Out of turn 1 they go, and that's, if you remember, the race where Casey King on the back of Kurt Busch on lap 1. On the front row as one car goes spinning towards the back. It is Nelson Rivera that's gone for a loop-de-loo. It looks like he has straightened her back out, and we continue green. As King has got away, Jorgensen up to second, Fuller up to third, and everybody getting stretched down into a rhythm now. As you got to find your spots now, and if you've made a mistake, you do not want to make it worse as you hit to the bus stop here for the first time.
5, 6, 7, 8. Those are the corners through the bus stop now in turn 9. Rolling through the carousel. Kevin King up one car length down. He's going to cut down to the apron, slide way out. They could use as much as the racetrack here as they want as they exit the corner. Down this short street, it's like a canyon with the way the fence is designed. You're going to hang a left here. Sometimes drivers will run up over the rumble strip out into the outer lane like you see Fuller do, and down through turn 11 and back to the straightaway. It's going to be Kevin King who's going to lead lap number 1.
Oh, Stoney Benfield has spun around over here in turn 6 or 10, and you might notice, let me clarify something really quickly. Technically, Kevin's not wrong with the 11 corners on this track. The basically the old way, I don't remember when they changed it technically, but basically back in the day, they called the bus stop turn 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you hear me reference turn 6 and Kevin say turn 10, same corner, basically. Yeah. But technically, neither one of us are wrong. So just want to clear
just
that.
Old school.
Right, that's the old school. No, I totally understand it. So, but hey, let's go back here.
It's
Joey
kind of
Gentino
goofy, but they are corner.
Right.
Corner.
They just stopped counting the bus stop. They just said the bus stop's a bus stop. There's no more 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
But either way, don't matter. Oh, who's that? Tyler Dalton with issues. He looks like maybe have gotten into the barrier there on the left side. Here he comes to come past the camera. The car looks okay.
Might have just missed it. Yeah, came down through, went through the bus stop. Popped the curving, I think, and it got the car a little sideways on the exit. And he went out and he hit it right where the camera got broken yesterday.
That'll happen.
He's going to go to pit road? No, he's going to stay out and keep going so the damage not severe didn't break a toe link or cause any damage
Yeah,
to the car, he's going to soldier on, running in the 13th position.
yeah, you hit over there where the styrofoam is, and unlike that car in the what was it, the Pass Tour or whatever car that car was that got absolutely destroyed at I want to say it was at oh gosh, what track was that? Anyways, I saw a car this weekend. I went headfirst into a styrofoam barrier and wall, and it literally. Oh, and around goes Jorgensen over here in the bus stop. Same area as Dalton.
Oh.
He spins her out. Look out. Oh, and then there goes
Drivers need
Mons.
to be careful and look.
Is there over
It's
there
a-
something?
It's a tandem duet there. They're losing all this track position, so both of them want to hustle to get going. Diane Mountain Dew gets it going one more time as the 88 goes from hero to zero back there as he's was in second. Now he's going to be, probably 22nd? Lost 20 positions on that exchange.
Yeah, and those are the mistakes you don't want to make, but those are the same time you don't want to make those mistakes. But if you're somebody that keeps the car on the track, because we're almost 3 wide in the 7 here, Grijalva, the 9 of Wetzel, and the 00 or 23 of Charles Van Schaik back here around the the 15th position. But this is where the drivers, like you look up there in third, Wesley Donaldson, Matt Ronaldoso, David Comstock, Mike Kelly, those guys there, you keep it between the walls, you're going to finish in the top 10. It's almost automatic.
I'll tell you, you look at the way these drivers are on top of each other still. I'm kind of surprised by that. Usually they spread out a little bit, and we see this cluster of cars going by on the screen. There is a touch of a draft. If you come back
Oh, yeah.
here, there's also disparity in braking points and the way drivers attack the corners here. And
Oh, Ronaldoso gets
gotta be
turned.
careful.
Or,
You
I'm
don't
sorry,
run over somebody.
Jorgensen gets turned. Sorry, Mons. This might be a caution. Let's see. iRacing hasn't thrown one yet. Jorgensen's going to tow,
Oh my!
and we stay green. There was a
Rivera
chance.
is out there in the barrier, front end nosed in.
So the exit of the bus stop appears to be Calamity Corner here tonight. That was contact for Rivera, and a few others taken out with it.
Wow. That's I was just talking about how they're all on top of each other at different braking points. You end up being side by side on entry to corner and hopping the curbs and getting into each other, and that's really just what happened is they got stacked up on each other. The 22 hit the curb and came out and got the 88.
Ooh,
Looked
Joachim-
very similar to the actual incident we saw
Joachim with damage. and
yesterday.
if you look right out in front of this spin here, you see Joachim got damaged, but Chad Coleman tried to sneak away without us seeing that he pulled a whoopsies. And Chad has learned with my cameras and stuff from trackcams22.com, by the way. Look down here at the bottom of the screen. You will see the 38 have a little do-si-do right there. And then the wreck
Oops.
behind him. So, but big shout out to Track Cams 4 Gourmet, a guy now. I give him a lot of credit, obviously, for the great work he does with everything. You see Kevin King go to turn 1 here. His battle almost on for second. But the guy, Itzvan is his gentleman's name. This guy specializes in the road cameras. So you really want to see what kind of work this man does. The road course cameras are where it's at. But the man does a phenomenal job. Let's go back here. Eric Arnold at the 17th position here, trying to get around Bobby Wetzel in the 9.
Yeah, cluster of cars right there with the 44 of Clem Campbell looking for the two of them to mix it up a little bit. Maybe they get slow and he can make their way around as you watch the flames belch from the side of the car when they let off the gas, trying to find the brake, slow the car down, make it turn through the apex, and then carry all the speed back here to the straightaway. You're absolutely flying down here, doing 170 miles an hour, and you're going to slow it down all the way to about, 80, 85
Yeah.
going through this section?
Especially the center part of the bus stop, because like I said, you're hopping that curve, which again is not the most friendly thing to do in this car. But you're hopping the curve going into the bus stop there, and by center point, you want to be able to cut that car to the left to get through the exit. And for those who don't know road racing, I can explain it. I can't do it that well, especially bus stops. Ask a few friends of mine. But one thing you want to do when you're in a section like that where you have chicanes, basically, as you call that, think of it as you want to set up the entrance for the exit, because where are you going to get the run? On the exit of the corner, right? You go the fastest to the next corner. So you want to go as easy as you can entering the corner so that you can fly off the corner and get to the carousel. How weird that sounds. I can't explain.
Nowadays,
Can't
the
do it.
drivers are carrying so much speed in there so that they can hop that curb and yank the car left
Right.
to get it to slide through and swing out on the exit. Is wow, big
Ooh,
move by Matt
Ronaldo,
Ronaldo to go
wow.
around the outside.
A little blue and blue, so a little blue by you, if you will, for third.
That's one of those deals where you carried so much speed through the carousel, the big sweeping corner, that you can let the car roll out over the rumble strips and use that speed to that short chute on the back straightaway. And I see a lot of late breaking points for that Matt Ralasso, number 49, and he's able to carry a lot of speed through the corner.
Now, back when I drove the cars, especially with the H pattern, I was one that always tried to be in the gear I wanted to be in by the time I got to the corner, because there's different ways to do it. You can trail brake, as they call it, in the corner and shift, but it seemed like anytime I shift, the back end would want to come around on me, so I wanted to make sure I had comfort in the rear. So I would shift to the corner and then turn in. Like right here, I'd be second gear going into turn one, up shift, up to third, up to fourth. But if you listen real closely here, this is one of the more interesting things about this track. Listen to the sound in Bobby Wetzel's car as you go up the hill here. You ever notice how it sounds like you're skydiving? I don't know what it is about this track, but going up the hill there in Watkins Glen, it's like you just hear that, like your skydiving noise.
I've got crickets. Never been skydiving.
I haven't either, but I've seen enough videos to know that that's what it sounds like when you're free falling. Outside of
I'm just fascinated to watch the fast drivers and see how they're picking their lines. And one of the things you learn is how to get into the S's and carry so much speed through there. Drivers come off of turn one and they roll through and they make a late turn.
Right.
And from that standpoint, you just set yourself up to get through the corner differently than you would think you should, but it ends up being the fastest lap. And the same can be said for right here, going through the loop, and how you come through. Now, I see different schools of thought for this corner. Do you stay out wide like Kelly is, and then turn down to the apron so that you can stay basically on the strip? Or do you run low and let the car really sweep out like we see some of those drivers out into the racetrack? Here, you want to let the car drift up. You're going to attack the gearing coming through here, so you turn in late, and often you can carry as much speed, let the car run all the way out to where the racetrack ends and the grass starts.
Which you got to be careful
And I
right
have
there.
no idea where to find the breaking point for turn one. That is my Achilles heel.
I have always used, and this is going to be, you guys are going to look at me like, oh my God. I've always used the light pole before the 3 in a cup car. But that's just me. Again, braking early, shifting, and stuff like that. But right here, upshift, quickly see how Mike's fighting that wheel. And you see how high the RPM is already. He'll hit 5th gear right here. And I think about the 400 mark usually is about here. Let me see. You're about there. Yep, 4, 3, down to, stays in 3rd over the curve. And again, you got to be careful with the curves in this car, because remember, the bottom, it's not like it used to be. You got like an Indy car. It's flat. You got a diffuser in the back. You got the splitter in the front end. So this car doesn't like the curves anymore like the old car did.
You could see how he attacked that corner. In low, out wide, in low, and then drive it down. Here he's going to turn in late, let the car drift up, go up over the curving just a touch, out wide, really wide here, late turn in, carry the speed, straighten out this corner. You're going to run right out to where the grass starts, and then drive along that white line to the start finish line.
It is very inviting to hit that wall right there coming out of turn 7 or 11. So, hey, let's step away for a quick break. We'll come back, get you more racing here from Watkins Glen as you're watching the NC811.org 811 811org 811org 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811  811 811 811 811  811 811 811 811  811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811 811
This tree is going to look great here.
Did you call 811 to protect your underground utilities?
I can't wait to see these roses come up.
Dig, dig, dig! Wait, we forgot to call 811.
Before you dig, make sure you can. Call 811 to know what's below. It's up to all of us to protect the ones we love.
All right, back we are here at Watkins Glen. It is the Kevin King show up front, as a lot of people thought he would be the one out here dominating. He's led all 11 laps here so far, still running laps of 111, a whole bunch of ones in here, as he works his way down here to turn 1. Justin Fuller second, Matt Rodolasso in the top 3 right now, Wesley Donaldson and David Comstock here in the top 5. Now, again, the pit window is about, and I said it'd be the only time I brought this up was earlier, but just for people new watching, it's about 35 laps or so. So the window's open where these cars could easily come to pit road now. If you wanted to fuel only it and go the rest of the way, or tires and fuel, whatever you feel comfortable with, and do it. But it's a simple one-stop race here. Pretty basic when it comes to the road racing here. Well, this isn't basic. This is 3 wide off 7. We got here Mons and Campbell and Wetzel. Oh, and Campbell gets into Mons.
Oh no! Wow.
And then Wetzel
On a
goes
straightaway, and Bobby Wetzel noses into the
What?
wall. That is a calamity.
Wetzel goes Jimmy Johnson.
He was by himself, wasn't he? I'm
Well,
not sure why he missed the corner there.
He might have got distracted by Campbell getting winded by Mons. Or the other way around. That was a weird. He's got a broken toe.
He
link.
just missed his turn in by himself.
Well, I wonder.
This is what I was talking about. It's so easy to miss your breaking point, and you only have to do it once. He was probably looking as to what was down underneath him and missed the breaking point.
How he broke his left front doing that. I'm gonna look right here. Let me see this all again here, because Mon's gonna get a run. I'm gonna look right there.
Okay. Yeah.
Something doesn't look right, and then Wetzel obviously probably laughing or something, and bam.
I'll have to go back and watch that again to see if there was something that was a precursor to that action.
Parker passing Calatoni for the 9th position, as Parker, did his usual start to back deal, which kind of puts him at a big disadvantage here, because you're now going to roll through the field with the chance of a caution pretty much slim and none. But he's worked his way up here into the top 10 now, past Calatoni.
Yeah, I didn't see. I went back and looked through the hour of replay at the 41 of Justin Mons, and I saw nothing that led to the reason of the 44 having that contact. Unless there was something before that I missed.
I got nothing. I mean, my initial thought when I looked at the replay was, okay, maybe he got on the brakes too hard, and then it's like, well, he shouldn't have been on the brakes at that moment. But I don't know. We'll see.
I was wondering if he was going to be in the grass or something too. Maybe he downshifted the wrong place.
Maybe,
That one is just a strange one, I have to say.
As the 24, Jose Medina here in the Pacifico, I believe that is. Number 24, looking outside on Campbell here. And Campbell's going to fight him. He could just see who are the ones who are just... Oh, the bus stop shop, right? Or a boot shop.
Yeah,
right
the
there.
boot.
The boot shot. I was like, where are they going?
That was a cool camera angle.
As Karlovage back here in the 60 car with Friery and Kevin DeBrown. As these guys battle out here, is already 14 laps complete. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us this evening on this Monday night. Night 1 of 4 straight nights of racing coming up here on the Captain eSports Network. As we continue to work through the racing season. It should remind you that you can check out the Captain eSports Network shop if you haven't already. Check out the t-shirts and hats and so much more that you can purchase there for sale. on the Captain Esports site. You can click on the link down below underneath the picture here on the YouTube page, and you can click the link and go check out the Captain Esports Network shop right now as you get a chance. So, let's see, King leads 8.4 seconds now over Justin Fuller. King must have made a mistake because he actually ran a little bit slower last time by. Fuller's second, as mentioned, is, well, he's got a lap car there ahead of him too. So Fuller, as I mentioned, Ron Alasso having a fantastic run. I don't know what kind of experience Matt has on the road course, but this 49 looking pretty sporty here, Kev.
Yeah, he's 11 seconds back from the leader, but only 3 seconds back from Justin Fuller, who's been cranking some good lap times. And last time we were here, it was a top 5 for the 51 of Justin Fuller. The guy I have my eye on right now is Josh Parker, the number 81 car, silently getting into the picture. Everybody running 113s, consistent laps, except for Mr. King. He's still in the 111s. 112 for Justin Fuller, 1 minute 12 seconds to circle it. But how about this run from? We're pretty used to it now, but it never gets old in understanding how complicated it is. Josh Parker up 12 positions. He's currently running 10th in the number 81.
Yeah, Jose mentioned something in chat that is something to think about here. We're 2 weeks away from the playoffs here on the Cup side of things, and that's when Josh is probably going to be in there qualifying. And when he starts qualifying, this is when he gets dangerous. Because not saying that, you know, Josh is the best driver in the league or anything like that, but Josh gets all this practice. He does it purposely, working his way through the field. So just imagine if he gets up there starting in the top 10. He gets a great run off 6 on Kevin Brown, and he's going to make the pass through 7. Set up that pass perfectly.
I'm not sure if you like or dislike the way this works, right? Because he has space, and he can go run that car down like a rabbit, and then attack one car, move around it, and then reset, do it again. That fits his style, and from that standpoint, he's just running his race. And when you have the space that he has to work with, you get air on the nose so the car turns better and you don't wear the tires out. These drivers, they have the option of 4 sets of tires in the pits. They'll probably use maybe 1 if they opt to change them.
Good shot there, exceeding the bus stop. But yeah, the tires do wear here at this Watkins Glen track. Actually, surprisingly, how they wear. And it actually makes the racing kind of fun, because when you get on the new tires, you actually can end up going faster a little bit. So that's where I think these pit stops are going to happen in a very tight window here. As soon as you see the first set of cars come to pit road, I think Calatonius locked it up going in the 6th. I think you'll see the rest of the field on pit road quickly just to make sure. But the one thing is for sure is the lap times have not fallen off much. You mentioned King running an 11 just now on lap 17. Fuller still running 12s. Ron Alasso in the 13s. I mean, you're seeing mostly 12s, 13s, and 14s, which are right there at qualifying pace for a lot of these guys. I know that sounds kind of spread out, but again, these guys are more oval drivers, so this is a little unorthodox for them. So they're out there just doing the best they can.
You know, you consistently see Mr. King running 1 second lap faster lap times than second place. And given we're working lap 18, he currently has a 10-second gap. It was 16 seconds. So, you know, you have to take into account that at some point he's passing lap cars and trying to set them up for the right pass and so on. But that second lap has added up to pretty much a second for every lap we've run. Now, right now, he's in the back of the field, starting to get around the 74 of Brian Workman, and it's soon enough, so will the rest of the field start to catch some of these back markers.
Thought another pass with Parker as he goes by Karlovage for the 8th position. So now up 14 positions is the 81 car's next car, or victim, if you will, Robert Fryery in the 77. Coming up in just moments as they go past the 11 of Ron Holyfield, I believe that is, even though he's got the 98 on his car. Kind of threw me off there for a minute.
Nice to see David Comstock have a top 5 run right now. The Monster Energy number 13 Camaro currently going through the bus stop and just quietly putting together good lap times, running consistent 112s, just like the top half of the field. And David needs some good runs going into the championship, and he's a fast driver. He can run top 5. Doesn't get as much practice as he used to, but when he comes to a track that he performs well, he's pretty consistent, and this might net out as a top 5 here tonight for the number 13.
Now, for those wondering, obviously we have Watkins Glen here tonight, and then from there we go to Bristol next week, and then Kansas Speedway for the final race before the playoffs. And you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, that's a little different than the actual Cup schedule. Yes, most of the schedule's matched up, but there are a few anomalies in here because the setup for the playoffs is a little different too, as they take 20 drivers in the playoffs. They will run 5 races, half the field gets cut, you run another 5 races, and you crown the champion. And that's how it's going to go, and it's going to start at Talladega Super Speedway on October 7th, then the 14th at Charlotte Motor Speedway, then you go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, so 2.66 miler, mile and a half. Then you go to the short track at Richmond Raceway, and then Phoenix, the 1 mile oval, to eliminate the first 10 drivers. So there's some interesting wild cards in that first portion of 5. And then you come back to the last 5, Chicagoland Speedway, Dover, Legacy, Texas, the Iowa Speedway, Homestead, Miami to finish it out. Pretty good mixture, I'd say there.
Yeah. One of the tightest battles on the racetrack right now. Jose Medina in the 19th position. He is trying to track down Glenn Campbell in the number 44. They go down this backstretch. They were nose to tail and peeking at each other every once in a while. One gets close to the other, then draws off. Then the other gets a good run and gets inside and takes a peek, as we see right here, the 24 looking to the inside, trying to find the space to make this pass, but a good run by Campbell off of the corner opens the gap up to 2 car lengths. So when you watch them around the racetrack, that is the advantage, where some drivers see the weakness of the other driver in a certain part of the racetrack, try to take advantage of that. And I'll tell you, Campbell is hustling the car right now. He's got a mirror full of Medina as a 24. Did not get through the final corner on the racetrack very well, and he's got a little breathing room heading into turn number 1. Now we'll see if it closes back up here as we head to the S's.
Yeah, you see how much oil he had to put into the car there in turn 1 as we'll climb the S's here. Campbell's stretching it out a little bit. It looks like Jose's able to gain on him in the corner, and then that's where Glenn's stretching him out of the corner, or pulling away there, as they got Eric Arnold about 10 seconds back from this battle, so nobody really pressuring them from behind. But let's watch Medina here through the bus stop, because last time through here, he got a real good run. As Campbell locks him up a little bit there, that's going to open the door. Probably
the grass,
gone.
That's
Oh, somebody spun. Who's that? That is Jatina, who has spun right in front of them.
Oh, no. Jatina was having a top 15 run.
So Jatina spins, and Mike, and he's going to tow back to pit road. Mike Kelly is on pit road in the speed car. So this will be the first pit stops here at lap number 21. So right about the halfway point here, as cars come in to put tires and fuel on. And this will be expected here.
Tell you, that bus stop is so tricky for some of these drivers. They might get in well, and then they carried a little too much speed. They go left, and they hit that final left-hand turn. They hit the curbing, and it bounces the car. And instead of it setting down and making the curve where it lands on the left rear as you start to turn into the carousel, it lands on the right rear. And usually that means just straight into those barriers where we saw the hit earlier tonight.
As King goes flying by, Medina put him a lap down right now, so that puts 16 on the lead lap. As Kelly is left to pits, Brian Wortman on pit road, Jatina unfortunately towed in, and you got Wetzel, of course, also on pit road. And now Kevin Brown on pit road in the 93 car. This is at lap 22. This is the halfway point right here.
Some drivers may have abused their stuff just as they get into the halfway point. They'd be happy to go get some fresh tires. Have to be careful. After you come off pit road, the car needs to warm the tires up. It could be a little greasy.
Yeah.
right after pitting.
Unless you don't
And
take
of course,
tires
you
like Kevin
don't
Brown.
want to speed. Do not want to speed.
Unless you're Kevin Brown and just don't take tires. That'll keep your tires heated up. 8.1 for him. So that should tell you right there how these tires are treating these cars. As your leader just flies by there to the right of the camera.
Interesting when they come through turn 1 into the corner, and a lot of times they'll sweep as far to the right as possible in order to swing left and carry the speed through the S's to get to the longest straightaway there when you get to the back stretches. Even with those worn tires, the 93 sees the 29 go cruising by.
And need we say that turn 2 and 3 section of this track, Kevin, that's not easy because you can't see over turn 3. You almost have to find a mark on the track to know that that left-hander's coming. And if you miss that left-hander, you are going to go into the armco to the right-hand side. And your night's likely done because it'll just rip to shreds your car.
The drivers tempt fate so much through there because they know that's where the speed can be found. If you can come out of turn 1, run the rumble strips, turn in late, and stay to the right, your turn left will carry more speed into turn number 3. And then you just have to hope that the car will turn going up through the S's. But drivers know at the end of the rumble strip on the right-hand side is where you want to be when you turn in, and if you hit it right, it's a thing of beauty as it carries so much speed. We see drivers coming out of the S's, and a lot of times they swing out to that little apron right before the grass. They may even cut the corner of the grass in order to carry as much speed as possible. That's the fast way through that racetrack.
And Kevin Brown has gone off over out of the bus stop. I see, not sure if he spun it off or went off the track over there, but he has fallen back now to 16th after the little whoopsie there for the 93 car.
Yeah, he too is a calamity of that second.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. Right here, that you have to hit that left-hand turn. If you don't hit it right, again, the car goes the wrong direction for you. And once it starts heading to the fence, there's really nothing you can do to correct it.
And Kevin's coming back. Oh, and Kevin King goes wide in turn 1. Overshot turn 1, but Kevin Brown obviously on pit road. A rare mistake for the 29, though, over here in turn 1. But and you might be asking, well, why is that curve different than, say, the entrance of the bus stop? Well, simple answer. When you're going into the bus stop, you're straight almost over that bump going into turn 6 or whatever into the second loop here. Watch Kevin enter here. Straight in. Bam. Over the bump. You're turning the wheel right here over this one. Turn the wheel. 2 wheels off. They grip. You spin. Simple as that.
If you get a little too far left, you hit the bump of the speed bump.
Yeah, you don't want to do that either.
And that's what ends up launching the car and changing. It's almost like getting off camber, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know it when you do it. You just hope that the car is going to turn out of it.
And 9 times out of 10, the rear's grip, and they're slick, and they're bald, and you spin. It's simple math, but yeah, that's kind of what's happening here.
Left side tires for the 19. We'll see if he goes for 4.
2 tires.
Yep,
That
2
doesn't
tires,
surprise me.
left side.
That doesn't surprise
Yeah.
me. Again, 7 right, 4 left. You don't turn left much. So use the right side or left side tires up, changes those, and we'll take off. So we've got some 2 tires, we got no tires, we got 4 tires, and we got 19 laps to go. As got some cars coming to pit road here. Let's see anybody in. So let's step away real quick, get another break, and we'll come back and get you more racing here from Watkins Glen on the Captain eSports Network.
When do you plan on putting in that new fence we've been talking about since last summer?
I guess I could start tomorrow.
Protect the ones you love and protect your buried utilities by contacting 811 before you dig, either by phone, the web, or the NC811 app. Know what's below before you dig. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back we are here on the Captain eSports Network. You heard Kevin talk about it as We were going to break there. Anthony Calantoni has come to the pit road, and I'll say what's taking a little bit there. 16.9 for him to pull away. Want to remind you real quickly, if you'd like to sharpen your skills on road courses or even ovals, you can check out 40 Racewear and get the gloves and shoes to help enhance your performance out there on the track. Not guarantee it's going to happen, but it'll at least make you feel good as you're racing in comfortable shoes and gloves on your hands and stuff. And the shoes, think about this: you're pushing down what is close to metal pedals with socks. It can hurt your feet a little bit. Put those shoes on and they're very comfortable for you, and you'll feel better when you're all said and done. So check out 40racewear.com. You got metal pedals?
I do.
What do you wear?
Socks, usually, of some kind.
How do your feet feel when you're done?
I could use shoes.
There you go. I should be a salesman. Anyways, 18 laps to go. Oh, man. Yeah.
Talking Giants, Calantoni, he went to service as we were going to break there. The Camaro currently running in the 9th position. Good run for Anthony. His 0-2 Giants need a little work, but I won't say anything because my 0-2 Rams are doing the same thing here. You want to talk Giants, you can go to YouTube and see the Talking Giants conversation about how the Giants are going to fix whatever they got going on, because, it's a New York thing. You can't be losing. You got to win.
Well, I mean, they did have Malik Neighbors have a pretty good game, I'll say. He had a pretty good one. But I found one way on social media today that you keep your quarterback from throwing the ball. You have your center puke on it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a new one. Wesley Donaldson on pit road here, lap 91. Or lap 91, lap 28 in the 91.
Interesting to see the strategy of these drivers, how long they're going, and you could see that car going down pit road. Oh, it is such a crawl, 40 miles an hour while the cars are doing 100 something, and then it messes with your head coming down pit road.
You'll see him exit right here. Looks like a 2-tire stop for Wesley, so he's following the Dalton strategy here, if you will. Now, you might be wondering, well, why have these cars stopped here at lap 29? Well, the tire wear being so not happening, basically what you're going to see potentially is these cars just go as far as they can on fuel and then just take fuel only and go, is what you're going to see happening. So you're seeing the different strategies right now. But Mike Kelly paying off right now in the 10th position here as he comes up on the back of Justin Mons. This is going to be a battle for 9th.
Yeah, Kelly's quietly having a decent run in the number 2 tonight. Just kind of, running his race. He's not been mixing it up with anybody from what I've seen. He's currently running 1 lap down in the 10th position because he pitted and Kevin King is yet to come to pit road. But he's going to slide easily underneath the 41 and make that pass, hand out the window. Thank you very much, as he swings down the chute here and heading for home. As Mike Kelly, decent road racer. He's had enough time to run 10 billion races at this racetrack, and familiarity, Chris, really helps with this racetrack. It gives you that timing and sense of, when to brake and whether you're going too fast or not. When we run different places like COTA and other racetracks, maybe the closest one is Infineon, Sears Point, or whatever you want to call it, Sonoma, that a driver is familiar with if they've run NASCAR enough. And certainly this place is not as challenging to many drivers as other road courses that you might happen upon, Road America and places like that.
Well, and I think the reason behind it is you look at the style of tracks, and I kind of explained this a little bit pre-race. A lot of tracks that you see ran on road courses are what they call technical tracks. When you go look at Sears Point or Sonoma, as you called it, which is the right name, you look at Sonoma, you look at maybe Laguna Seca, you look at Barber Motorsports Park. Those tracks, those road courses are technical tracks. It's a lot of rhythm. It's a lot of finding the speed in the middle of the corners. A track like Watkins Glen, Road America is another great example. There's a lot of straightaways, and the corners are not so, as Mike Kelly kind of slides in there a little wide, not as many corners. There's a lot of straightaways. So all you do is make in some of these tracks, you just make like a 90-degree corner, and then you take it a few thousand feet down a straightaway, another 90-degree corner, a few thousand feet down a straightaway, and then it kind of sounds easier than a technical track per se. And it's easier to get used to a track like this then a Sonoma that you have, a bunch of S's going up a hill, a short chute, and then a bunch of S's down the hill unless you go into the infield. Then you got a carousel and a whole bunch of other stuff to it. In Laguna Seca, you got the king or the corkscrew. That's a whole other monster.
Yeah. I want to see if you can help me with shot, if you mind.
Yeah.
Can you go to the chase view of Kevin King in the 29? And let's talk about something that is imperative to finding the speed at this racetrack. He's going to come down the chute here. Watch, he'll go to pit road, mess everything up. But he'll hang the left, and you'll see the cars in yaw just a little bit. But more so, the place you need to do it is through the rest of the racetrack, starting here across the start-finish line. He's going to come down, and he's going to brake down, down, down. He stays off the curving here pretty much. He's going to straddle the curving here, and it's right here when he turns in. He wants to get to the right. He wants to be where the exit of the curving meets the white line. Here he's sideways, 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 turning right, sideways, sideways, sideways. Let the car drift all the way out. That time he didn't roll it out to the white line. Sometimes they go out and clip the grass. Sideways in, sideways through. Again, with the car in front of him, he's not going to be able to do it. And sideways through here. He's not driving the racetrack like you're driving Saturday, to the grocery store. He's in yaw all the way through these corners. And it takes a certain feel to get the car to the right speed where it holds the sideways slide, like we just saw there.
Got a little tight there.
And carries the speed. That's where 111 comes from. Sideways through here.
There he comes.
He's not just driving it, he's sideways more to get to pit road.
Yeah, and what he's doing is he's doing that with his gas foot. Basically what he's doing is he's getting enough of the weight transfer to the rear of the car and gassing enough to where it's sliding the car, but he's got control of it. And that's what allows it's very tough to do in these cars, the next gen car, because that's where you get that side force, as they call it. But this car don't have that much of that. But that's what allowed the cars to, when you put them in yaw like that, they can just kind of slide through the corner and flow in and keep the downforce on them. Is the fact that the air is hitting that side, and it helps you cut through the corner. So good scientific way to
And
put it.
write this down: fuel only for the 29. No tires.
Not a surprise right there. As Kevin King, fuel only. He leaves. Matt Ronald also on pit road. You want tires, Kev?
No, I do, but he doesn't.
You don't.
No, the car, he's still running 111s. He's running 112s recently, which is still faster than drivers who started the race. Most drivers right now are running 113s, 114s. If we look at the scoring roll here, and Kevin was still running 112s. So
12 laps to go, 33
Fuller
laps.
out front.
Yeah. Fuller going to get a
I
bonus
just need
point.
that for my notes.
Yep. Yeah, right. Fuller out front. He's the first different leader, and he's going to come right back to pit road here. And he's going to get his likely fuel only, and then Kevin King will re-inherit the lead here, as he is one of, should say we got 4 cars left that have not come to pit road yet. David Comstock, Robert Friery, and Jose Medina, along with Eric Arnold. Those 4 have not pitted yet, as King's already inherited the lead back after the pit stops. Here comes Comstock now at lap 34. And from here, it's a race to the finish and seeing who can run what kind of laps with or without tires.
Yeah, Justin
As
Fuller.
Kevin Brown is
changed 4.
Sorry, Kevin Brown has gone around over here, turn 6 area, between 6 and 7. Look out. And he's just going to say, I'm just going to get off the track before I become an issue. And Fuller was speeding on pit road.
Yeah, he's still sitting there. I'm wondering if he had a penalty going in and they're holding him.
That would be my
Changed
guess.
4 tires.
Probably speeding on the entrance, if I had to guess, because or else he would have to come back around and do a drive-through or something like that. So it must have been speeding on entry. We'll see here. It should be about a 54-second stop. If so, there he goes, 54.43. And he is going to fall. Looks like to about.
Going to move Robert Fryery the third into second right now in the number 77.
I've got Fuller 12th after that. Or at least want somebody
Fryery's
to
going
watch.
to duck off, go to pit road.
Somebody to watch coming through the field. That'll be fun. As Fryery comes to pit road, that'll hand the second place position. How about this? Matt Rodolasso having a great run.
Eric Arnold to pit road. 31 going in for his service.
And he and Medina, the only two left now. So we should see Medina probably this time by. Just watch Parker get past Comstock now for 5th. So Parker going to be all the way up to 4th after these pit stops here. Good for him. That's awesome. Good run. 18 positions up for that Fritos number 81 car.
Well, we did catch that one slip from the 29. The rev grips came out at a turn number 1. It wasn't colossal. It was just a little blip in the machine. But I'll tell you, it's so far he's not put a wheel off. The car has been just flawless. Every corner. It reminds me of watching Daniel Falkingham when he ran here. And the one thing that I'll say, and I'm not looking to jeopardize anybody here, is the concentration it takes to do this lap after lap after lap. There's no caution. You know you're going to run it straight through. It's a long run to go 45 laps. Now we're getting to the end of this thing. We're almost working to lap number 40. But at any given point, one wrong little blip, one wrong encounter, and one of the things we've not talked about, Chris, is if you have a faster car at some point, you come upon someone, you really usually try to see if you can find a place to pass them that doesn't impact your corners.
Well, the one thing we just watched while you were discussing that was the passing going on back here around the 4th position. And, of course, you mentioned doing it without hurting yourself. We watched Parker and we watched Comstock go past the 77 of Fryery, and Fryery actually had 2 wheels off coming out of turn 4 heading towards the bus stop, and I thought they were going to wreck. That's why I was like, whoa, for a split second. But those are the little situations, you don't want to hurt yourself, because now you look at Fryery, you've got about 0.4 of a second, or I should say, I'm sorry, about 3 seconds back to Mike Kelly. And the one thing you don't want to do is invite him into this picture, because then all of a sudden you could lose that position.
When you run by yourself, you run the exact line you want to run. You have all the racetrack to yourself. If you came off the last corner and you got to the inside of someone and went down the front straightaway to their inside, you've got to change your entry into turn 1 to execute the pass. It's the first and only time you've run a lane down and your braking point changes, your turn-in point changes, your turn-off point changes, and you're trying to pass a car. That happens on every corner, especially on the exit corner going down the short chute. A lot of drivers opt to pass there. So trouble can happen here late in the going when you're coming upon another car.
No.
You really have to be careful.
Matt Rodolasso has gone around, and you saw the replay there of Fuller had a quick off, but Matt Rodolasso has had some issues, but he has lost second to Wesley Donaldson. So now you're starting to wonder, is these tires, are they kind of losing grip here a little bit? And plus the heavier car now with the fuel in the rear goes to turn 1 here. A little, it's hard to wheel hop there, but it looks like he's gonna, he gets hooked coming out of the corner.
Yeah,
oh no,
this is what I'm talking about, and he backed it in pretty hard there. That's the exact scenario I was talking about, coming down into the corner.
Mind his own business there. Unfortunately, a lap car was outside. And you know what? Here, let's bring this up. The spotters. He's off the track. Is this lap car to the outside? So the iRacing spotter probably didn't pick him up. Look right here in the turn 1. He's going to go wide. And all of a sudden, bam.
Yeah, I just don't know if he thought Stoney Benfield swung out a little wider and he was going to come up to get again, you're trying to go in and make your entry into turn 2, sweeping as much as possible. And unfortunately, contact.
We'll see how that does for Rodolasso, but he did lose second to Wesley Donaldson and now sits 4 seconds back from the 91 car. Now, Fuller, you might have seen in the replay just a few minutes ago, he actually clipped the grass going into turn 6, and it looks like almost lost the car, had to go sliding off the track a little bit there. Is Grijalva having issues now? And it looks like it's on pit road as the 18 car is wrecked it. Let's see what happened to him. Oh, he and Wetzel have been getting along great the last few weeks. And, well, not sure if there was miscommunication there, maybe, or something.
It looks like Wetzel might have been trying to go to pit road.
And then Joe just hangs a left here. And
yeah, what happened here? Maybe he had some damage.
Maybe one as egregious as I made it sound there, because I know these two have had a little argument here the last few weeks over some things, but
Bargy there.
That looked like just maybe some miscommunication or something there gone wrong. But Eric Arnold, looks like Fuller had another quick second off, but yeah, this is the intense part here now. Worn out tires, 5 laps to go. And real quickly, let's get the third break in before we get to the finish of this race. We'll come back, get you to the finish here at Watkins Glen.
What a nice day to install my new mailbox.
Hi there, friend. I'm Dig Safely Man. My job is to ensure you call 811 before you dig.
Why do I need to do that?
Vital utilities like natural gas and electric run just beneath the Earth's surface. Damaging them can cause service interruption, environmental hazards, or personal injury.
I thought only contractors had to call before they dig, so homeowners do too.
Call 3 business days before you dig unless you have X-ray vision. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back we are here at the Captain eSports Network in Watkins Glen International Raceway. And you might have noticed something. You were showing the replay here for a reason, Kev. What did you maybe notice here on the 18 car?
Yeah, you could see that left front tire is pointing in the wrong direction there. It's pointing to the left, going down the straightaway. When he slowed down to get on the brake, the car hooked left. And you could see that he's got a broken toe link. And unfortunately for the 18, a successful run is going to go by the wayside. His leader has a scary moment over there in turn number 1. The 84 of Calantoni locked up the brakes. King had to take evasive action to the left. He's going to squirt around him through the S's and sail on, but tense moments there as the laps are ticking down for Kevin King. Last thing he wants right now is to have an incident like Grijalva.
Yeah, 8 cars on the lead lap now. Jason Karlovan is going to be the next one, but he is about roughly 12 seconds up the track. So he might not get to him before his... Everybody's having issues now towards the end of this race. I think the car is losing grip now with these tires going, 40-plus laps on who's taking what tires and stuff here. But, hey, real quickly, shout out to MC Racing again for having us on their screens in the Fort Wayne shop there. If you're a sim racing fan, you could do with one of the drivers did in one of my other leagues. They actually live right down the road from here and went over and did some racing. Took his dad in there, I believe, if not already. He's going to do so in the near future. And if you got a parent that would love to try this out and you're coming through the area, stop by MC Racing and check them out today in downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana. 3 to go. King with 39 seconds over Wesley Donaldson. Matt Rodolasso third. And believe it or not, we've got a 3-car hustle here for the 4th position.
Yeah, just wanted to call out the 8 car got out of the way of the leader. And so did the 60, showing a lot of courtesy of Kevin King coming. But these guys, the 81 is just absolutely sideways, banging over the curbing there. I'm sure he knows the pressure out the rearview mirror. He really just needs to look forward and get these last couple laps in and see if he can keep David Comstock at bay.
I made a comment about not catching Karlovaj for the end of the race. Was I wrong? As here comes, Comstock trying to get to Parker. Using this draft down to 0.4 of a second here. It's just going to take one mistake, but Parker has been the one taking advantage of the mistakes all night. So for him to maybe make one here might be a little tough ask, if you will.
Yeah, and what I see with these two racing is Robert Fryery, the third, sitting back there with some opportunity. He's just kind of maintaining the gap behind these two. If they do get to racing and somebody puts a bumper to someone, it's possible he could squirt past both of them and squirt into a top 5 finish here. So 77 can see right out of his windshield the action, and I would not put it past Robert to see if he can go up there and grab one of those spots before the checkered flag drops.
As they go through the carousel here, they'll work their way out of this portion of the track down the short chute here. You can see the different exits by the drivers. Got a couple of lap cars up ahead here that could play a role as they go over the tunnel there that goes to the infield portion of the track through turn 6. And these guys about a minute back from Kevin King, so they're only about 20 seconds ahead of him. As they'll have 2 to go here and 2 more chances to make this happen amongst each other.
While you watch this battle, we need to take a moment and talk about Wesley Donaldson, the WBD diecast car running in second. What a solid night for the number 91. He was in need of a good run, and he is showing that road courses are a fun thing to do here. Is that 91's been stout all night here tonight at Watkins Glen.
What has been the one big thing he's done tonight? He's kept it between the white lines. Main key tonight. You look at him. Rada also had the incident, unfortunately, but Parker, same thing. Comstock, same thing. These guys running up here in the front are the ones that just kept it between the lines and kept it clean as Kevin King works his way down the back straightaway here for the final time as he'll enter the bus stop. Hops it over the curbs. And through the carousel one last time in this RevGrip.com Chevy Camaro. He took 2 weeks off, went on vacation, and comes back and is going to pick up right where he's left off all season long. As Kevin King will bring her through 6 and 7 and get himself back into championship form as he gets himself ready for the playoffs. As he comes to Watkins Glen and just continues to win in Sim500. King's your winner by 42 seconds at least.
Yeah, outstanding run. Not a surprise as Wesley Donaldson out in the carousel just trying to get back and cement this second place finish. Right now he can see one car out of his windshield, but I think he should not be looking at Charles Manshike as I need to pass him. He should just cruise right in. He's got such a gap that he can easily finish this last set of corners and pull down a podium finish for the number 91.
91 will definitely finish P2. So, yeah, great job on his part. Carl Lavage outran Fuller by 0.4 of a second there for the 8th position. So Fuller trying to make a little bit of a comeback after his mistake. Will finish 8th, and the battle for the 4th position. Josh Parker going to come up just a little short of Rada Lasso as he, Comstock, and Friary will finish 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Pretty interesting to see that those drivers were within a couple seconds of each other, you know, from after running 45 laps. It always amazes me that you finish in sight of someone else. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, you go back to those 24-hour races you see in real life at Daytona, how these guys can go 24 hours and they end up with a finish by like 1/10 of a second. I mean, granted, cautions and stuff are involved in that, but still, and even you see it in iRacing. Even you get some finishes that are within like 2 seconds, and you run 24 straight hours of green flag.
Kevin King on the front stretch practicing his donuts, looking to see if he can go bowling and knock the pins down as he rolls down, burning them down here on the front straightaway for the Watkins Glen crowd as a clinic. It's what we expected from the RevGrips.com driver, and K King's style is the way to do it here. Is outstanding race for Kevin King on his return back to the Sim500 series.
Yeah, it's only his 14th win of the season, and I say only, but because he could easily have a few more, but he's been the guy to beat here this season as he's done a great job. And a great job by all these guys. I mean, you didn't get too many incidents. I think we only had, the one major wreck over in the bus stop. Otherwise, I think everybody kept it fairly clean for the most part tonight. So congratulations to everybody on that. Let's take a look at the finishing order from the Glen as King wins it over Donaldson. Rod Alasso third. Josh Parker finishes in the fourth position. David Comstock ends up with a top 5 here this evening. So congratulations to those 5 drivers. Robert Fryer to third, finishing in the 6th position. 7th going to Mike Kelly, Jason Carlavage 8th, Justin Fuller 9th, and Anthony Calantoni 10th. Tyler Dalton ends up in the 11th position tonight. 12th place to Justin Mons, Chad Coleman 13th, Charles Van Schaik 14th, and Jose Medina finishing in the 15th position. The rest of your finishing order, if I can get over there to it, there we go. Brian Wortman finishes 16th tonight. Good job on his part. Patrick Colby 17th, Glenn Campbell 18th, Nelson Rivera 19th, and Eric Arnold 20th. Stoney Benfield 21st. Randy Yoakum 22nd, Ron Holyfield 23rd, Joseph Grishal at 24th, Joey Jatina in the 25th position. Kevin DeBrown, Bobby Wetzel, Doug Sigmund, Mark Jorgensen Jr. A great start to the race. Unfortunately, fell by the wayside early here at the Glen. Let's talk to some of the drivers here. After a top 3 finish, the 49 car hanging out all by himself down here, and unfortunately the one issue here tonight was the contact there with the lap car running second map, but still a fantastic run for you in the 49 car this evening, getting the top 3 finish.
Yeah, it was crazy. Just even be up that close to the front, it's pretty cool. You know, not totally used to that here with the ovals. I'm a little better on the road courses, so definitely a really fun night and good racing with everybody up there when we were close. It got a little spread out there. It was probably boring for you guys a little bit, but when we were racing, it was pretty fun.
What is it about this track, or maybe this car combo or whatever, that just makes it fun on a road course?
I mean, for me, with this car on road courses, I always have a little bit more fun. I just kind of take to it a little bit more, so it's fun for me. Watkins Glen's fun. It's fast, just with the braking points. And just getting through the S's is really kind of cool. And but yeah, I love the track, and I love the car on the road courses here in Sonoma, especially. They're pretty special.
One thing about this track, and we saw a lot of issues with this tonight. Obviously, one of the secrets, and I don't know if it's a secret as much, but going into the bus stop, you hop over that first curve, you straight over it. But we then seen cars that would spin out over the third curve, the second left-hander, and talk about how, I guess, easy that was to do, because it's one of those, you're used to wanting to use the curves to turn this car, but it can upset the car.
Yeah, you just can't get your left sides too far over, like into the grass. And for me, I don't know if it's, I mean, I'm not the fastest out there, so it might not be the best way to do it,
right.
But I always don't go full throttle through. I always just kind of like really pedal it, but I make sure I take the curb enough to get me rotated and set up for the carousel. But so yeah, I try to take as much as I can without going over into the grass. If you go into the grass, I feel like that's when the car starts bouncing, and when it's bouncing, you're trying to turn it back to the right. There's just the weight when you're trying to shift it. It just doesn't want to go, and it just loops on you.
Well, absolutely a great job tonight in that 49 car. Why don't you send some shout-outs whoever you like to.
Shout out to, I know he wasn't racing tonight, but Rod Mitten, teammate, kind of left me by myself tonight, but I always love racing with him. But shout out to him, and thank you guys for doing the broadcast and putting everything on. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate your time. Congratulations on the podium finish tonight.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too. Matt Rodolasso finishing in the third position this evening, which is a career best for him in the series. And sometimes you get those road ringers. He's really good at road courses, he says, and he definitely showed it here this evening. So congratulations to him. Kev, I would think that the second place finish from Wesley actually would be a good one for him.
Yeah, Wesley Donaldson, second place here tonight at the road course. No caution, so it means that you had to have a near flawless race. Did you get any moments where you were in challenge tonight, Wesley? Didn't see anything from you.
I mean, I had a few moments where I think I was gripping the paddles a little too tight, and I downshifted a few times when I didn't mean to. So a couple close calls. One of those, Stoney ended up hitting the back of me, but it was just like square contact on the back, so it wasn't like it was anything crazy. But that was kind of what I was just thinking about. Like I think I was probably one of the few guys tonight that didn't have some sort of a bigger issue, because I don't I mean, I would say I was probably like a 5th place car because, I mean, Mark was really fast, Jorgensen, and then Fuller was fast and sped on pit road, and then Matt was surprising. I didn't know he was really good on road courses, but he was really quick tonight and probably really should have been the one finishing second. But yeah, I kept it straight the whole night. Didn't even have too many off tracks, and I guess that pays off in a race like this.
I was watching your attack of the racetrack. Pretty consistent laps, pretty straightforward through turn 1, turn 2, through the S's. Nothing crazy. You weren't really hustling the car, just taking whatever you could get. You looked pretty comfortable tonight. Is there a rhythm to this place?
There definitely is. I got out of it a few times when the shifting things kind of happened, but yeah, I feel like in the past you've been able to kind of attack the curbs more and like the bus stop than what you really can now. So I really wasn't trying to overdrive it, and it just I really love road courses in this car. I know some people don't like it, and I know this car can be a bit of a handful in the way it can kind of snap, but I really just enjoy running the road courses, especially here. This is just, it's such a fun road course in general, and especially when you're driving like NASCAR style vehicles on it. But yeah, I mean, towards the end of the race there, like EJ came into our room and I was just kind of chatting a bit, and I was in such a deep rhythm that I didn't even have to think about it anymore. Just kind of logging laps.
Of course, you won the race earlier this year at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and if I start looking at your stack, the first half of the races I'm looking at, all top 5s, top 10s. Then the second half is all 16th, 17th, in the 20s, 30s. There's a 40 and a 47 in there, but I'm not sure if you're up on this, given it's breaking news. Top 5 in the points right now. You've dug quite a deep hole earlier in the season, and you are now in the top 5 and in the point chase.
Yeah, it's been quite the up and down season. It seems like I'm either top 5 or I'm like junked, and there's kind of not really much of an in between. I think this is the 5th time I finished second to Kevin. So I feel like that has to count for something. It makes me feel good. I wish it was more wins, but you know, I mean, Kevin's really fast, so what can you do sometimes?
Yeah, so what track do you have circled coming up?
I would really like Kansas. I felt like the last time we were at Kansas, although Kevin was faster, I felt like I was pretty close for a good chunk of the run, so I feel like in the right scenario I could do pretty well. I made kind of my own mistake there last time on a green, white, checkered restart and got a little bit loose, but I feel like that's one of my best tracks on the service, so I'm really excited to go back there.
Well, Wesley, you're right. 5 second place finishes and a first place is right around the corner. How about it? Great run here tonight at Watkins Glen. It's stressful when there's no cautions to make sure you could run all 45 of them and get the job done, and you certainly got the work done tonight. Check the box. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody here at Sim500 who helps put this stuff on. Joey, all the sponsors of the league, NC811, Train Service, Goat Racing Diecast, and then of course my company, WBD Diecast. Thanks to the guys in the Sim500 Misfits channel there. I know we had some couple add-ons the last few weeks with Fuller being in there too, so that's been really helpful. But yeah, I think that's about it.
There you go, Wesley Donaldson, the WBD Diecast number 91, second place here tonight to Kevin King, and congratulations, Wesley. We'll let you go celebrate that as Chris is going to turn the microphone over and talk with, welcome back, Mr. Kevin King.
Yeah, it's been a while here, I guess, for Kevin. We haven't talked since last month, literally, as he took a couple weeks off there and has come back, and we were kind of warned in advance that you were pretty good at this Watkins Glen track, and you obviously did your thing here tonight, getting back into victory lane and stretching that lead out just a little bit more.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the super speedway stuff, so I figured I could, not do that. And come back to a track where I feel like I've always wanted to get better at. I know it's one of the more simple tracks out there, but it's also very hard to go fast and keep the speed all the way through the run. So that was kind of the goal. Was hoping to get the pole, and then of course, turn one's always kind of a crapshoot with the green flag start and all that fun stuff. But Yeah, I felt like once I get out there, didn't really mess up. I did miss my breaking point once. I don't know what I was doing in
We
turn
saw
one, and I was like, where am I going? So that cost me about a second, but for the most part, just managing traffic and everything was really fun, and everyone was really cordial out there. But yeah, I had a blast.
I was gonna say, did you see somebody running a different line out there and wanted to try it?
Yeah, that was I just missed it by like 2 car lengths. Let me just keep shifting until it stops.
Or did Beasley go in practical jokers to say, I dare you to miss turn 1?
Yeah, I didn't expect him to be here, but yeah, that was. I'm grateful there's no sand out there anymore like there used to be.
Yeah, right.
It kept going, but overall, like I said, it was fun. I really tried to focus on the bus stop, and I felt like I was hitting the bus stop pretty consistently, pretty quickly there. And I, just the car felt pretty good the entire time. I didn't really have any loose. It's not the most fun handling vehicle out there, but it felt good the entire time, even on no tires there.
You obviously were doing a great job. We saw in qualifying and even throughout the race how you were able to wrap that bus stop really tight. How tough is it to balance out, because the corner, obviously an entry is inviting. You want to just send it over that curve to set up the left-handers in the bus stop, but it's a balance because you got to be able to get off the corner too.
Yeah, and I think I would say that's one of my struggle areas. Like I get into the bus stop pretty well, and then exiting, I feel like I want to attack that entry. But it gets so tight, and a lot of times that's where you typically will burn the tires off. The S's, yeah, for the most part you can, but really that's the track, or a part of the track where you're on throttle and just kind of maintaining speed throughout. So I tried something a little different where I entered a little higher, and then I downshifted or upshifted, just to make sure I had the grip off the corner. I just let it turn by itself. I didn't really try to force it. I felt like running the curb sometimes was quick, but then I didn't really get a good exit. So once I started running the middle and just kind of diming it a little bit, it seemed more comfortable and pretty consistent. So I don't know if it was the fastest way to do it, but that's the way it felt. Like I wasn't killing the left front, and I felt like that's been my problem here, where I'll fall off pretty substantially in pace. So I felt like the pace for the most part, they made an update for the tires this last build that made them fall off now. They're not just running qualifying laps this entire time, which is cool, but I felt like my pace was quicker than it usually is. The tires fall off, so that was fun. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Absolutely, man. We're back in victory lane here tonight, and getting that 14th win here on the season. Obviously, 2 more weeks before you get to the playoffs and you get the short track at Bristol, which I know was. I go back to the spring race. I remember some stuff in that race happening.
Yeah, I think I ran poorly. However, I will say I found something out there that a different league that I was able to run, and I was quite a bit faster. So I think that'll be a better track this time. Although I know Fuller and a few other guys are so quick there. So if I can just run well, that's kind of the purpose of it all. It's not my favorite track, but if I can just run well and we have some green flag racing, I think that'll make it more fun. And then what's after that?
Kansas.
Well, Kansas will be fun.
There's a revenge race right there for him.
yeah, that'll be fun. And then the chase starts. So, 2 more races. I feel like I don't have a lot of pressure to kind of do anything special. Just get through them, have some fun, and then really start. We have Dega, which that'll be a fun race. I'm sure that'll go well. And then 4 really good tracks for me. So we'll see how it works out, and look forward to the next 2 and have some good runs, have some fun, and hopefully Beasley shows up. He keeps giving me excuses why he's not here. I know he got wore out from keeping the pedal to the metal the last 2 races, so unfortunately he wasn't able to make the left and right handers tonight. So hopefully we can see him at Bristol, but we'll see him for sure at Talladega, I'm sure.
Sounds good, man. Well, hey, Kevin England, did you notice the sarcasm there? And he should run well at Talladega part. Yeah, I'm just checking. Anyways,
he did. He darn near came away with a victory.
He did actually. Good call. Yeah. Send some shout outs, Kev, whoever you want to.
Let's see. You guys, Joey, appreciate him. A lot of leagues are scared of road course races because it's not most fun. And, sometimes it's not everyone's cup of tea. So I appreciate him being willing to put one of those out there for people to run. I think overall it was a good race for the most part. You guys, like I said, all the drivers, they do a good job of representing and supporting the league. I would say that's probably the biggest thing that leagues struggle with as a whole, is just finding people that consistently show up, and these guys do a really, really good job, and it seems like they have a lot of fun with each other. So they continue doing that, and this league will be around for a long time. But revgrips.com, Concepts, VRS, Reedy, all my RC car sponsors and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it was good to be back. Good to be back racing again. Like I said, we'll come back at Bristol and see what we can do.
Great job tonight, and welcome back to Victory Lane. Welcome back. And side note, I do have a race broadcast Wednesday at Barber in a B car.
I feel bad for you.
Thank you. All right, good job tonight.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
You too. Kevin King, the winner here tonight at Watkins Glen. And yes, that is a true fact, by the way, Kev. I do have a broadcast Wednesday at Barber. I'm like, all right, a motorcycle course with a B car. Here we go, boys. It was actually a fun race. You had a lot of great battles, especially at the end there for fourth. It seemed like the mistakes kind of ramped up after the pit stops, some during. But it seemed like mostly after the pit stops, as the tires finally fell off and almost hit their area, it was like that's where you started seeing those little mistakes.
Yeah, I just look at the speed, the consistency of the speed, that it didn't drop off. If you wanted a top 5, a top 10 tonight, you had to be on your game every lap from the drop of the green flag to the finish, because drivers were running consistent 112s, 113s through the whole race. And, that's one thing that's really strange to a layperson watching the race is we all live and die by the time of the car. When you come across the start-finish line every lap, you're looking at what your lap time was. And there are certain times when you blow a corner and you go, okay, that's going to cost me. And tonight we saw a display of a lot of drivers really having a good night, being consistent, and they netted themselves a top 5.
Well, it should be a lot of fun here throughout these next couple of weeks. Bristol next week, Kansas the following week before we get to the playoffs. So show you where those close to the playoffs sit and what a night it was. And if I'd have recognized this before talking to the man, Matt Rodalasso, what a night it was for the driver of the 49 car. Trying to get over to the right screen here. As he made a pretty big jump. Of course, with the drops in play, it kind of makes things a little foggy here, but you look at Rodalasso, 23rd position for him, and he is only about, 25 or so points out of the 20th position after a great run here tonight. So if he can keep it going at Bristol next week, he could get himself up in there. Of course, you got to eliminate all the drivers that have made less than 20 starts now. So you look at Jorgensen, he's out. Stoney Benfield, Rod Mitten, Glenn Campbell, those guys ineligible. So now it's pretty much down to roughly, 6 cars from 20th down. So as we get closer to that 22nd race coming up here in a few weeks, that's going to get interesting there. So that's where we are in the points. Kev, that was a lot of fun. Shall we go to a short track next week?
I think we need to head to Seneca Lodge and get ourselves an adult beverage, and then we can go to the short track, guys.
I might have some places around here, just saying. I actually interviewed for a job once, radio, over in Elmira, which is to the west of here. Lived in Rochester for a couple of years. I know all about the garbage plate, though I've never had it, because of half the stuff I wouldn't eat because I'm picky. And yes, Genesee Brewery up there in downtown Rochester. Get yourself a beer.
Yeah, lots of family out there in the Ithaca.
Yes.
That's where we hail out there. So still have family out there, which is
pop quiz question
pretty cool
for you.
to go over and drive around that area. A lot of history and anyway.
Pop quiz for the movie buffs. Who can remember what movie was filmed at Ithaca? I'll give you a hint. Tom Green.
It's so unusual. No, that's the wrong guy.
No. Anyways, for those who haven't figured out Road Trip by now, there you go. That's the answer. All right, we're out. We'll see you next Monday night from Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll have another league race tomorrow night from Talladega, so got a lot of fun coming up here this week. I'm going to keep getting some rest, and we'll go from there. Remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain eSports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.